Welcome to video 9 of this video series. We've already looked at steps 1 to 4 of the project and the project report template and the types of things that you should be thinking about including in your project report. Now, so far, you've identified a problem at step 1. You've decided on your project plan at step 2. You've created a solution to the problem at step 3. At step 4, you've collected feedback on the solution, and maybe you've made some changes because of what you've learned during the feedback stage. And now here you are at step 5, your presentation. So let's look at this. What are we going to know by the end of this video? You should be able to locate the presentation section of your project report template. You should be able to list all of the benefits of step 5. Why do we have a presentation stage in our project? You should be able to list the steps that you must take to complete this section of your project and your project report. And you'll be able to list the information that you must include in this section of your project report template. Now on screen now, you can see the presentation section of your project report. So it's blank and it's got no information filled in just yet. The presentation stage is your chance to communicate your work, to share your solution, and to show what you've learned. It's one of the most valuable skills that you'll use in school or in college or in the workplace. Why is it important? Well, first of all, it helps you to share your ideas clearly. A great idea is only helpful if others can understand it. When you're presenting your project, this shows that you can explain your thinking, your solution, and your results in a clear and confident way. This also helps you to build real-world skills. Presenting is a skill used in almost every job. It could be tech, it could be business, it could be healthcare, law, engineering, and more. If you decide to move on to college or a PLC course, you might also need to present. Learning to speak to an audience now prepares you for interviews, for meetings, for future projects, for future studies. Presenting also shows pride in your work. The presentation is actually your moment to shine. You get to highlight all of your hard work, your creativity, your problem solving, and you get to celebrate what you've achieved. Presenting also helps others to understand your solution. So it could be companies, your teachers, your co-workers, your fellow students. They might not have seen your entire process. And when you're presenting, it gives them a quick overview of what's your problem, what's your solution, what are your key findings, without them needing to read your whole project report. Presenting is also going to help you to develop your confidence. Standing up and speaking about your work helps you build confidence, communication skills, and professionalism. These are all qualities that employers value highly. And it also allows for final feedback. During or after a presentation, people can ask questions, they can give you advice, and then you can use all of this to help you refine your ideas even more, and you can learn how to respond to different viewpoints. So, in a nutshell, the presentation helps you to communicate your solution clearly, to build essential workplace or college skills, and to confidently show what it is that you've accomplished. Now, when you're creating your presentation, you're going to have to think about how you're going to create it and the different elements of visual design that you're going to use. On screen now, you can see an image of the home page of your Canva tool. And in your Canva tool, you can look through the different templates that are available and you can customize one that suits your project. Or you can decide to start a presentation from scratch without using a template. Now, when you are doing this, it is important to remember that you need to be putting this information into your project report. So your project report, when it's completed, must include your presentation. This is important for you to remember as you work your way through the project. So how are you going to include it? Well, you might include a link to your presentation, or you might decide to include the photos of your presentation of the different slides. You can ask your teacher or your workplace supervisor for advice on the best way for you to include your presentation into your project report. And once you've completed your presentation, you'll be delivering your presentation. Now remember, all of this is an incredible opportunity. You're going to be able to showcase all of your amazing work. You're going to be able to build real world skills. You'll be developing your confidence, and you'll be getting some final feedback. So once you've delivered the presentation, this is going to be recorded. And it's important for you to remember that your project report has to include the recording as well of your presentation. So you need to include the presentation, and then you need to include the recording of when you deliver your presentation. Again, you might decide to create a link to the recording. You can ask your teacher or your workplace super for their advice on the best way to include the recording of your presentation into your project report. So now that brings us to the end of this video. So at the end of this video, you're able to find the presentation section of your project report template in Canva. You know the benefits of working through step 5, why we present, what skills you're learning as you work through this step. You're also able to list the steps that you must take to complete this section of your report. So you now know that you're going to create a presentation where you'll be presenting your problem, your target audience, your solution, maybe some information on your feedback. And when you deliver your presentation, you'll be making a recording. You also now know you're able to list the information that you have to include in this section of the project report. So you're going to be including your presentation and the recording of when you delivered your presentation. Thanks for watching.